Hi, my name is Shaye. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Um, where yeah, there's no if you watch the previous video, there's no preset agenda. But I am currently traveling solo. So I decided to start a solo travel series, and I believe this is the third one I'm doing. And if you could probably tell, I am hopping around the EU, and I just left Madrid not long ago, hence Madrid. Shout out to Madrid. It was amazing. But I wanted to talk about because I had an interesting experience in Madrid, which sidebar for a second, I was there during the blackout. That was insane. And and considering my last installation was talking about pivoting and unplanned events, I didn't plan for that. And not to go too far into it, the day the blackout happened in Madrid was the day I was supposed to catch a train to Barcelona. Again, I'm solo traveling. I don't speak Spanish. I don't speak a lick of Spanish. Yes. I could have researched. I could have learned. Could have. But we also have established that I'm also someone who, rather frequently, especially when it comes for things of pleasure, I kind of, I kind of go impromptu. So Spain wasn't even on my agenda when I first left the U.S. The trip I was planning, it was a interesting place that I've always wanted to go to, and I saw an ability to easily access it on this journey, so I did. And because I'm also an overachiever, I decided I wanted to do Madrid and Barcelona. So I was in Barcelona. I'm sorry, I was in Madrid the day the blackout happened. Supposed to be catching a train to Barcelona. Unaware, in the middle of a square, outdoors, having a great time, eating, enjoying myself with someone who I just befriended there. And the blackout happened. And I still didn't understand the severity of it because no one was sharing any information. And didn't pay attention to the fact that my phone was acting weird. But when you travel internationally, it happens. You just figure you're in a bad spot. You get service when you move. Long story short, as everybody knows, it was a almost 11, 12 hour blackout experience. No internet, no electricity, nothing. I went to my hotel that afternoon and they informed me like, oh, just go to the train station. I'm sure you can still catch a train. You just need to go there. But I couldn't catch a cab because it was chaotic. So it took about 3 bags by myself, trekked about 45 minutes in a city. If you've ever been to Madrid, it's a city. It's the true definition of a city, and it's a cobblestone city like most Europe locations are. So walking with bags and trekking, it's a lot. But I did it. Got there, realized the station was not only closed, it was insane. That's when the severity of this hit me. And I quickly realized, oh man, not only am I not leaving Madrid, I don't have nowhere to stay. Anyway, I ended up crashing some hotel's couch with a candle, but that, yeah, was an unplanned event. It definitely was a pivot. And like I said, I didn't speak Spanish. There was a lot of smiling, begging, pleading, pointing at phones. It was, but I survived. But it was interesting. There's one for the books. So today, what I really wanted to talk about, because part of what helped me through that was I realized being friendly, being being one open to yes, things are out of your control, but also realizing in moments like that, the worst thing you could do to yourself is isolate yourself, right? Because you are in a space where you need help. You don't you don't know anyone, you need assistance, and maybe going into yourself and not speaking up and not engaging with the people around you is not the best. So I thought for this discussion about solo travel, I wanted to talk about making friends when you travel and why that is important. Being friendly and making friends. And the reason this came to me was because, like I said, when I was in Madrid, I met a very lovely person who we had lunch and we were talking, and I believe it was her first time doing solo travel. And one of the points she pointed out, she said, "You know what? I struggle with it because I get bored." She was like, I can't. I don't think I'll do it again. This is not for me." And I acknowledge like, yeah, it's not for everyone, but it also is one of those things that you won't enjoy it if you're not someone who can engage with strangers, who is comfortable going out your door. Again, you have to use discretion, intuition, pay attention, right? And just start conversations with people and be friendly and be curious, right? So I think friendliness, a level of curiosity that goes beyond, I just want to go to the country, like true curiosity about people, about places, about things. You have to have that to be able to do. Otherwise, yeah, you will be bored. I mean, if you're going to just do the things you've done when you're at home and only limit yourself to engage with the people you already know when you're at home, I will question why spend so much money to leave your home. Just stay there. Right? Like, don't don't do that, you know? The whole point of travel, at least for me, the enjoyment I get out of it is that coming out of my norm, you know, talking to people that I may never meet in my day-to-day life, having the kinds of conversations that I may never get the opportunity to have, seeing places that are well beyond my level of imagination where I exist. So I think, again, a skill, in addition to adding, pivoting from the last video, a skill that I would highly suggest you work on if you're someone who's considering solo travel and you're hesitant, you're not sure, you're wondering if you will enjoy it, is try to start, and I know people hate small talk, but just try to, when you leave your house, start having conversations with people you don't know, right? When you go to the Starbucks and you're picking up your coffee and you're waiting in line, there's someone next to you. See if you can engage in a dialogue with them. See, and not just hi, hello, what do you do? Like, be truly curious about people and pay attention. Like, listen, right? Because the art of listening to respond is not listening. Even I have to keep working on that, right? Just listen to hear their story, because people will tell you their story, and not to carry your burden, but just to open your mind up to worlds that far exceed what you're accustomed to. So I say you have to be friendly. You have to be friendly. You have to be curious. You just have to. And like I said, curiosity beyond your norms. So, for example, I was in Barcelona, and one of the world-renowned architects in Barcelona is Gaudi. If you ever go there, everyone tell you got to see Gaudi's work. He has so many buildings and parks and etc. And I went to see a couple, and I'll be honest with you, before I stepped foot in Barcelona, I didn't know a whole ton about Gaudi. I knew about his fixtures, but I hadn't really researched. But the tours I signed up for, I ensured they were guided tours. And as they're going through and they're telling you this man's story, how he did some of his phenomenal works in his 30s, and you're seeing how intricate the work is, how it's just beyond something that you think someone that young, or even anyone I know, honestly, that's living's mind could create. It really gets you thinking about the possibilities that exist in us, at least for me, right? It really got me like curious about this man, right? Like, I wanted to see other stuff he'd done. I, after the tour, went back and spent at least an hour in each location, just taking my time to see all the details that maybe the tour guide didn't go over, and trying to imagine, like, what could the mind of a 30 something year old be thinking when they are planning this level of intricacy in their life. And according to the tour I was given, a lot of these things he was doing simultaneously. It just, and again, inspires you, because I'm in my 40s, right? And I have not done work a fraction of that. Nothing, right? But it inspires me now to go into my life and go, how can I be more intentional? How can I really take a step back and create a life that when I'm not here, it truly reflects the story I want, right? And how can I also make sure, because one thing I noticed about his work is every little thing. If you see a tiny little piece of nail or a tiny little piece of wood or something, it is planted there with a story. He did it on purpose. He put it in that angle on purpose. Like, it's a level of meticulous nature that I don't naturally, have today. We've talked about that, but I aspire to now, because I see the beauty of it. And it was me spending time being heavily curious about this man. Went to the museum they had, went to the exhibit they had, read up on, like, now I'm a Gaudi person, right? But, and I'm probably pronouncing it wrong, but that's, I believe, how it says is Gaudi, Gaudi. Um, I was inspired. And that was something that, an example of me doing something on a solo travel by myself that I thoroughly enjoyed, that people would do in group settings. But I knew if I had done that in a group setting, I'd be limited by other people's level of interest, how much time they want to spend looking at, shapes and lines and colors. Like, it's not everyone wants to be that soaked into it, but I did. And because I was alone, I could. And because I was curious, I could spend half a day immersed in this thing. And it truly made my trip more fulfilling. And again, an unplanned thing, but because I was curious and someone had whispered to me when I was going to Barcelona, that, hey, you should check this out. And that started the rabbit hole. So, curiosity, friendliness, and I think the last thing I'll say is, if you're going to solo travel, if you really want to do it and you really are nervous about, again, what will I do? How will it be? Will it be weird if I go to places? How will people look at me? I will give you the answer that you've probably heard over and over again. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. When people pay their money to leave their house and go on vacation, they don't care about you, girl or guy. They're not there to come look at the one person who traveled alone and talk about you when they go home. They don't give a crap. They really don't. They, just like you, spend good money to come have memories, to come have a good time. And like I said, I think sometimes that even makes them more willing to open up to you and embrace you and help you. I take some of my best pictures on solo travel. You know why? Because I'm honest with people. I tell people, like, hey, I'm alone. Would you mind helping me with a picture? And the way they will be committed to the cause to make sure you get your shot, I'm constantly impressed. I'm constantly like, wow. So no one would believe that I just met you 2 seconds ago and you took an amazing shot of me without any effort, because I think people get it, right? Like, when you travel, when we do these things, one, it takes a level of courage to step outside by yourself and say, I'm going to do it alone. Get there, have these experiences, and then you want to capture it. It's natural, right? So they want to help. I think, you know, there's lots of rhetoric around manifesting and, energy fields and what you build around you. But I do think your world becomes what you believe, right? If you believe people are generally bad and they're not well meaning and they are malintentioned, like, that unfortunately may be the world you find yourself in, right? And that's not to say everyone's a saint, but if you generally lead with, I believe most people are good. I think people come into this world, especially when you look at babies and kids, pure souls, right? They come into this world being good. And unfortunately, things do happen, right? And people do go through periods where they're not their best. And we may have one or two exceptions to the whole good theory, but generally people are good. And if you leave your house and leave your space thinking that, you will attract those people. Those people will be generally the people that you will meet. You will not face harm like a lot of people fear about solo travel. And of course, you have your wits about you, you're paying attention, you're, listening to your intuition. But the biggest thing is, just remember, no one's leaving their house, specifically looking to talk about you by yourself in that restaurant or at that tour. They don't care, girl. And half the time they will be, I can't count the amount of times I've told people, yeah, I'm alone, and they're like impressed. Like, it's a thing. Now they actually want to engage in a conversation with you. They're curious about you. They want to know how you started, why you're doing it. Like, it becomes a conversation point and makes you actually connect with them and makes you more memorable. So I can't rave about it enough. I can't rave about it enough. And this trip has reinforced it for me, because this was a trip that stretched me. This was a trip that really should have been a 1 week trip, but it kind of got out of hand because I was like, oh, let me do this. Oh, let me do that. Ooh. I'll be going home soon. but I had a great time. I did some things that I may never have been able to do. It also was a perfect time to do it because I am not traveling at peak season, not quite yet. I'm just at the tipping point. So I had the opportunity to see things in a manner that would be challenging to do in about a month or two. And I'm thankful. I'm thankful. Every time I do this, I want for more people to do it, because I know a number of people in my lives who, they want to go. They have, if you're talking, they're like, oh, I plan to go here, I want to go there, but they're waiting. And like I said, life is short. Life is so short. Life is long. I'm not by any means like being a pessimist about it, but as we know, you don't know your time. So what are you waiting for? Like, if you can pull it off, or if you can even start inching closer to it, start. That would be my advice. So yeah, friendliness, curiosity, and remember, nobody cares. Nobody cares. So enjoy yourself. Get your shot. Get your video. Get your memories. Do your thing. And go home restored. All right, that was today's rant. I gotta go. Like I said, I'm on the last leg of my trip. I gotta go soak it in before I go back to reality. I hope you all having a nice week, and we'll see what the next one brings.